Hello mga Acute Angels! Welcome back for another Mathinate episode. This is Teacher Mika
And this is Teacher Joyme.
Today, our lesson is all about angles and angle pairs.
After going through this module, you are expected to classify the different kinds of angles and derive relationships of geometric figures using measurements and by inductive reasoning. Before we proceed, I want you to bring out a long bond paper or any clean sheet of paper and a washi tape or any regular tape you have at home, and then randomly tape some intersect lines on the paper and name every corner or vertex with capital letter. Your output should be similar to this picture. You have 5 minutes to do the activity, and after the discussion, you have to measure the angles formed.
An angle is formed by two non-collinear rays with a common endpoint. The two non-collinear rays are the sides of the angle, while the common endpoint is the vertex. It is denoted by a symbol.
An angle separates a plane into three sets of points. First, the points on the angle. Second, the points in the interior of the angle. And lastly, the points in the exterior of the angle. In this illustration, ray ED and ray EF are the sides of angle DEF. Point E is the vertex of the angle. Points D, E, and F are points on the angle. Point G is in the interior of angle DEF, and point H is in the exterior of angle DEF.
So how do we name angles? We have three ways of naming angles. First, by using three letters. The middle letter represents the vertex of the angle, and the other letters correspond to the points on the sides of the angle. In here we have angle ABC or angle CBA. Second, a single letter representing the vertex may also be used to name an angle. So we have angle B. And third, by using a small letter or a numerical. In here we have angle B or angle 1.
Now, using the given illustration, try to answer the following. Number 1, name the sides of angle AXB. Number 2, name the vertex of angle CXD. Number 3, name a point in the interior of angle AXC. Number 4, name a point in the exterior of angle CXD. And number 5, name the angles with side DX.
Let's proceed with the measures of angles. The measure of an angle refers to the opening made from one side of the angle to the other. An arrow from one side of the angle to the other usually denotes the measure desired. A unit of measuring angles is the degree. In measuring angles, one may use a protractor. To use the protractor, place the center point on the vertex of the angle to be measured. Line up the mark labeled 0 on either scale with one side of the angle. Then read the scale where it falls on the other side of the angle. In the figure shown, the measure of angle ABC is 30 degrees. As a matter of conversion, we write this as measure of angle ABC is equal to 30.
Now, let's talk about the kinds of angles according to measure. First, we have the acute angle, whose measure is greater than 0 degree but less than 90 degrees. Next, we have the right angle, whose measure is exactly 90 degrees, and an obtuse angle, which is an angle whose measure is greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees. In addition, we also have the straight angle, whose measure is exactly 180 degrees. The reflex angle, which is greater than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees. And the perigon angle or full angle, whose measure is exactly 360 degrees. For your drill, identify the kinds of angles according to measure. Letter A, 57 degrees. Letter B, 143 degrees. Letter C, 90 degrees. Letter D, 100 degrees. And letter E, 1 degree.
We are now down to the last part of our discussion, which is about angle pairs. First, we have the adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are two coplanar angles with a common vertex, common side, but no common interior points. So in here, angle LOV and angle VOE are adjacent angles, while angle LOV and angle LOE are not. Next, we have complementary angles, are two angles whose measures add up to 90 degrees. The first figure shows a pair of non-adjacent complementary angles, while the second figure shows a pair of adjacent complementary angles. Third, we have supplementary angles, or angles whose measure have a sum of 180 degrees. The first figure shows a pair of non-adjacent supplementary angles, while the second figure shows a pair of adjacent supplementary angles.
Number 4, we have the vertical angles, which are two angles whose sides form two intersecting lines. Remember that vertical angles are congruent. In this illustration, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, meaning whatever is the measure of angle 1 will also be the measure of angle 3. The same with angle 4 and angle 2. And lastly, we have the linear pair, which are two adjacent supplementary angles whose exterior sides are opposite rays. In this illustration, angle 1 and angle 2 forms a linear pair.
That ends our lesson today. We hope you learned something. See you on our next episode, Acute Angels. Keep safe.